Ladies and gentlemen, please feel free to move to the front of the stage to take pictures of the formation, but please stay off the stage. Ladies and gentlemen, please find your seats as the ceremony will begin momentarily. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Commander Clemia Anderson, Director for Officer Development School. On behalf of the Commanding Officer, Officer Training Command Newport, welcome to the graduation ceremony for Officer Development School Class 19050, consisting of 192 officers. Guests are encouraged to take photographs at any time during the ceremony, except during the playing of the national anthem and the invocation. The order of events for this morning's ceremony is as follows. Momentarily, Captain Mark Nicholson, United States Navy, Commanding Officer, Officer Training Command Newport, and Rear Admiral Paul Peregrine, Commander, Navy Medicine West, Chief of the Navy Medical Corps, the guest of honor for today's ceremonies will arrive. Guests will be asked to rise for the arrival of the official party and remain standing for the playing of the national anthem and the invocation. Both the commanding officer and the guest of honor will address the graduating class. Following their remarks, the class will then distribute the awards. Following the award presentation, the graduates will symbolize the completion of their training by returning their company guidons to their class chief petty officers. Finally, the graduating class will reaffirm the oath of office. Guests will then be asked to rise for the playing of the service songs and the final dismissal. Again, allow me to emphasize, you are encouraged to take photographs at any time during the ceremony, except during the playing of the national anthem and the invocation. Please rise for the arrival of the official party and remain standing for the national anthem and invocation. Officer Training Command Newport, arriving. Commander, Navy Medicine West, Chief of the Navy Medical Corps, arriving. Ladies and gentlemen, our national anthem. Ladies and gentlemen, Chaplain Sutphin will now offer the invocation.
Let us pray. Everlasting God, make us aware of your presence, and allot to us our daily portion of your favor, that we might celebrate the accomplishment of these graduates, honor the labors of their instructors, and recall the support of friends and family who join in these proceedings. It is no accident that this group has come to this moment. These accomplished professionals began preparations for service to the warfighter long before they reached these grounds. We rejoice today their coming together as Sierra and Tango companies of ODS 19050, formed and prepared for dispersion to the fleet. May they always recall fondly their formative moments on this island in summer, and may they ever seek to grow in dedication and concern for those they care for and instruct. Bless these instructors and staff. May each be blessed for what they have selflessly given and encouraged by the continued success of these graduates. We thank you for those who will offer applause here today, for those who join the celebration from afar, and the many more who may not be present but were instrumental in the course of events that led to our celebration. Watch over those whose sacrifices have made possible this time for growth and training. Be with those who stand the watch even now, that we might have the liberty to gather. These many things we pray in your holy name. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, Captain Mark Nicholson, Commanding Officer, Officer Training Command, Newport.
Admiral Perigin, commanding officers, captains, distinguished guests, family, friends, and shipmates of Officer Development School Class 19050. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
It's my sincere honor to be with all of you this morning in this humid Newport air as we recognize and celebrate the achievement of these 192 young men and women sitting in front of me. America's very best and brightest as they graduate and start their careers in the United States Navy. For the families, I want to thank you not only for making the long trip to be here this morning, but for the performance of your sons and daughters, husbands and wives, brothers and sisters. Your love and support have helped produce the quality individuals seated here, ones who not only chose vocations to help their fellow man, but who chose a path of service in the United States Navy. For Class 19050, the profession of naval officers, much like the medical and law professions, requires its members to take an oath. In just a few minutes, your parents, loved ones, along with the OTC staff and myself, will bear witness as you raise your right hand and reaffirm a sacred oath to support and defend the Constitution. This oath carries far more obligations than privileges. It carries the obligation to serve in the most trusted institution in America. According to Gallup polls that stretch back for more than a decade, the American people trust the military more than any other institution. A list that includes the Supreme Court, Congress, organized religion, police, public schools, our medical system, and our criminal justice system. It is up to you to maintain this trust. As George Washington once stated in an address to the officers of the Virginia Regiment, remember that it is the actions and not the commission that make the officer, and that there is more expected from him or her than the title. As an officer, you will be placed in a position to lead and mentor what is truly one of our most valuable national assets, the enlisted men and women of our Navy. The American people are trusting you to care for and lead them in defending our Constitution. I challenge each of you to maintain and build upon the American people's trust through your actions as a naval officer. I'm very proud of the effort you've expended over the last several weeks. It's my pleasure and honor to welcome you all as naval officers into the wardroom of the world's greatest Navy. I have another honor and privilege this morning, that of introducing our guest speaker, Rear Admiral Paul Perigin. His full bio is in your programs, but I'll hit the highlights. He's a native of Memphis, Tennessee, and holds a medical degree from Vanderbilt University. Completed medical residence training for emergency medicine at the Medical College of Pennsylvania. Operationally, he has served as officer in charge of Fleet Surgical Team 5, Task Force Surgeon with USS Bellewood Amphibious Ready Group, and Expeditionary Strike Group Surgeon for the USS Peleliu Strike Group. He has led at all levels, including Deputy Commander of Navy Medical Center San Diego, Commanding Officer of Naval Hospital Camp Pendleton, Force Surgeon for the Naval Surface Forces, U.S. Pacific Fleet, and most recently as Bureau of Medicine and Surgery Liaison for the Defense Health Agency. Currently, Admiral Perigin serves as Commander of Navy Medicine West and Chief of the Navy Medical Corps. Last but not least, he is also the father of one of our graduates this morning, Ensign Aiden Perigin. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in giving a warm welcome to this morning's guest speaker, Rear Admiral Paul Perigin.
Well, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Admiral. Maybe I'll sit down now. That was pretty good. So let me add my welcome as well to all of those who have traveled here to witness and to support these graduates. And yes, to take some memorable shots during the next photo frenzy that comes toward the end of the program. To the mothers and fathers, stepmothers and stepfathers, sisters and brothers, husbands and wives, aunts, uncles, cousins, coaches, mentors, welcome. Thank you and congratulations for the role that you have had and continue to have in the development of these young officers you see before you. Those of you who were able to join us at the reception yesterday at the deck in Newport will know what I mean when I say I'm tempted to just defer to the remarkable and inspiring words of the division officers, ADIVOs, and the MC. The growth, focus, maturity, and energy that they showed truly moved me. And Commander Anderson was impressively on point with his closing comments on the role of ODS, the reason we are here in uniform, and the achievements of Class 19050 as junior officers. I'm afraid I cannot say it any better. But allow me to provide a few thoughts as we formally commemorate completion of this milestone today. First, I want to give a bravo Zulu, the Navy signalman language, for good job. To the instructors, company commanders, all the other enlisted officer and civilian support staff who come together with such skill, experience, patience, and drive to bring these young men and women into the fold of officership in your United States Navy. Officer Training Command Newport, and in particular for this group, Officer Development School, teaches these students irreplaceable career lessons, indeed irreplaceable life lessons during these 5 weeks. Shipmates, we are in your debt. ODS, or OIS, as it was called when I came through in the summer of 1984 after my first year of medical school, brings together an interesting mix of our Navy's newest naval officers. ODS 19050 includes engineers, cyber specialists, nurses, scientists, administrators, clinical specialists, dentists, and doctors, just as my class did in 1984, except perhaps the cyber specialists. I don't even think cyber existed back then. And if it did, we didn't know it, or perhaps they didn't think we could be trusted with knowing about it. To 19050, I would say this. For some of you, because of prior enlisted service, already wearing rows of ribbons on your chest that exceed my own, this is a step in the progression of a thoughtfully planned, long, and full career seeking increasing responsibility in uniform. For others, you may come from a family or a community of military service, and you were drawn toward commissioning by the examples of those around whom you grew up. It was a natural step for you. For still others, ODS is a waypoint in what you expect, let's be honest, to be a relatively brief contractual obligation in exchange for tuition and living expenses during your professional school. That's what I thought. Yet whichever group you belong to, or more likely for some, we'll see plan in between. You've all trained here in Newport side by side for the last 5 weeks, and surely you have learned from each other. And you will serve side by side again. You may not know it at the moment or with whom it will be, but you will serve side by side for countless watches, duty days and nights, and even deployments, as you each grow in your professional competency and craft, as well as in your ability to follow and ultimately to give orders. As I hope you've learned during ODS, such orders given not to exert your superiority over those under your charge, but given to accomplish a common and meaningful mission, a mission that places self last. You are now part of the Navy the nation needs. That Navy is bigger, better, networked, more talented, more agile, and more ready, as our CNO would tell us. You are part of making that happen. You have a role, and we need to get after it. The United States needs a military that will win when deterrence and denial are not enough. As the Chief of Naval Operations, Admiral Richardson, says, in our world, with reemergence of peer nation competitors, should we end up in armed conflict, second place is meaningless. Our military must therefore exceed our adversaries in lethality. Now, that term lethality may be a little unsettling for a group of professionals, especially when the summer ODS classes are largely composed of medical professionals, 188 of the 192 that you see before you today, who aspire to heal and to cure. But I tell you this, for the staff corps professionals in this hall, the military goal of lethality directed at our nation's foes translates to our mission of maximizing survivability and success for our own forces and those of our allies. Whether in force health protection through research and prevention, whether in optimizing human performance, or in the restorative care that we provide for illness and injury, the role of Navy medicine is in generating readiness in the warfighter, as well as readiness in ourselves as the medical force to deploy with them to any clime or place, to be there when it matters. And for the restricted line officers and others from non-medical communities, whether in intelligence and information dominance, in technology, design, and engineering, in nuclear power instruction, or in other warfighter supporting professions, such as law, religious ministry, or logistics, you must no less see yourselves in the demand for promoting the survivability and dominance of our sailors, Marines, and joint warfighters. I've used the word professional a couple of times. You are all professionals or aspiring professionals in your fields. Let's think for a moment what characterizes a professional, as distinct from a craftsman, tradesman, or laborer. Professionals are highly trained in a specific field of study, of course, but that's just the path toward becoming a professional. It doesn't make you one. Professionalism means a commitment to standards, to advancement of subject knowledge, to self-management as a community, to recruiting and developing those who come after, to lifelong learning, and to serving the greater society with one's unique abilities and intellect. Professionalism entails an ethic and ethos uniquely embodied in your particular area of knowledge and practice, but with common themes. And now, as the commanding officer said, most of you still consider yourselves a professional defined by the field of study and expertise you have chosen to pursue, but we expect you to be professionals not only in that sense, but with graduation today, you are also propelled forward in the profession of arms as a naval officer, which demands no less of those same traits of professionalism. As I said earlier, I was here in King Hall, Nay Hall, the trainers, and the parade grounds myself 35 years ago. And more than just cybersecurity has changed since then. Our world has changed dramatically since that time, when, of course, few, if any, of you graduates were even born. Not merely has our world changed, but the various professions you've joined have changed as well. Knowledge and common access to it has exploded. Global connectedness, such as we have now, was hardly imaginable in the past. Technology has enabled such great good, but can also be a tool for distraction, destruction, and dehumanization in the wrong hands. The movement and migration of people globally has both enriched and yet challenged humanity's sense of self, community, and nation, and of what is right. This means it's a complex world in which you will serve, making a solid sense of values and ethics imperative. Use your experience here at ODS to build upon and strengthen your values, your ethics, your integrity, your trueness. Actively reflect on this time and let the physical, mental, and spiritual strength grow beyond the gates, just as your shipmates stated yesterday to you at the reception. Now, a couple of final pieces of advice as I close. As professionals, your early credibility comes from the practice of your chosen field. And after all, that's what the Navy has hired you for. So learn your field diligently, with dedication and discipline. You will build upon that in your career, but be sure now that the foundation is solid and sure. Yet know that the relationships and respect also emerge, not just from your professional credentials that you hang on the wall, the collar device that you wear, or the work that you do, but also from how you go about that work. This includes not only the quality and reliability of your work, but also how you treat others. While there's a clear hierarchy of authority and accountability in the rank structure of the military, in keeping with unity of command, good order and discipline, and clarity of purpose, human dignity and care for those who are your peers and subordinates is essential to good leadership and to mission accomplishment. Just a few weeks ago, I had the great privilege of serving as a reviewing officer at the graduation ceremony for Recruit Training Command, where enlisted sailors, generally 18 or 19 years old, are similarly brought into the Navy. These young men and women are amazing and inspiring and so eager to learn, grow as young men and women, to perform and contribute in the fleet. They and the thousands of enlisted who have passed through Great Lakes before them will be your doers, your helpers, your charges. But they are so much more. Our enlisted personnel are the heart and soul of the Navy and the Marine Corps. They will respect your rank designated on your uniform, but they will serve the officer, person, and leader that they observe. So honor the rank at which you emerge from ODS today, a rank which already puts you in the upper 15% or so of all military members. Yet know that the rank you wear now, or will wear when you finish school and report for active duty, is largely granted based on your educational attainment and professional caste. Well deserved and gained through intellect, hard work, and sacrifice, to be sure, but recognize also that for most of you, your life experience to date and your deck plate forging do not match that of those whom you will outrank and whom you will lead. Be therefore humble. Seek to learn from your juniors and put their needs first. If you're open, you're likely to learn as much or more from them than from your seniors, at least about what's really going on in your work center, your division, your department, or your unit. Embrace the diversity of your shipmates, diversity that is manifest not just in outwardly visible ways or demographic categories, but perhaps even more importantly, in the background, upbringing, socioeconomic underpinnings, connectedness, outlook, and yes, even political leanings of your shipmates. That diversity strengthens rather than weakens us. But you must listen and observe in order to appreciate it. Continue your active study and pursuit of the 4 core attributes the CNO has put forward, which I have no doubt infused your brief time here at ODS. Integrity, accountability, initiative, and toughness. Develop these in yourselves and demand them of others. They are required in our nation's defenders. You, ODS Class 19050, are now woven into the fabric of our nation and our Navy's history. Remain worthy of that, and thank you for choosing to serve. And one more thing. Don't forget to ask the Chief. Often, every day, every way. Congratulations to ODS 19050. Welcome aboard, shipmates, and welcome to the wardroom. Thank you.
Thank you, Rear Admiral Perigin and Captain Nicholson. At the conclusion of each ODS class, several students are recognized by their fellow classmates as well as OTC and staff for outstanding achievement during 5 weeks of instruction. Lieutenant Joseph Boone and Ensign Nathan Milosevic, front and center. The Honor Student Award is presented to the officer who best demonstrates an overall excellence in the areas of academics, physical fitness, and military bearing. Consistently setting the example for his or her peers throughout the many challenges faced at Officer Training Command, the Honor Student Award goes to Lieutenant Joseph Boone and Ensign Nathan Milosevic. Ensign Victoria Berea and Lieutenant J.G. Maria Moncayo, front and center. The Alfred Award is given to the officer who achieves the highest military grade derived from personnel inspections, room inspections, and general military bearing. The award is named after the Continental sloop of war, the Alfred. Commissioned in 1775, the Alfred served as a flagship of native Rhode Islander Commodore Essex Hopkins. Serving as a role model of Navy pride and professionalism, maintaining the highest military standards, and providing the inspiration to all, the Alfred Award goes to Ensign Victoria Berea and Lieutenant J.G. Maria Moncayo. Ensign Ryan Bergamini and Lieutenant Ryan Twaddle, front and center. The Captain George Townsend Smith Leadership Award is presented to the officer who personifies the highest standards of personal example, good leadership practices, and moral responsibility. For this award, officers were nominated by their peers and selected by the Officer Training Command Newport staff. The Captain George Townsend Smith Leadership Award goes to Ensign Ryan Bergamini and Lieutenant Ryan Twaddle. Lieutenant J.G. Coral Johnson and Ensign Catherine Smith, front and center. The Eady Award, named for Lieutenant Thomas Eady, United States Navy, recognizes the highest achievement in academic and military performance. Lieutenant Thomas Eady, who immigrated from Scotland and settled in Rhode Island, was awarded the Navy Cross and the Medal of Honor for his courageous efforts as a diver during the salvage of submarines SS-4 and SS-51 off the coast of Massachusetts. He was a member of the Southeastern New England chapter of the Retired Officers Association at the time of his death in 1974. In recognition of this accomplishment, in addition to a certificate of achievement, the Military Officers Association of America has generously provided a 3-year premium MOA membership to the Eady Award winners, Lieutenant J.G. Coral Johnson and Ensign Catherine Smith. For the past 5 weeks, the company guidon has been a symbol of spirit, dedication, teamwork, and unit identity. To symbolize the fact that these officers seated before you have completed their training, they will return the guidon to their Class Chief Petty Officers, Senior Chief Aviation Ordnancemen, Surface Warfare, Air Warfare, Information Warfare, Rudolph Liverpool, and Chief Hospital Corpsman, Fleet Marine Force Warfare, Surface Warfare, Air Warfare, Aaron Paul. Lieutenant Commander Aaron Cagley will now deliver the reaffirmation of the oath of office. Would all military personnel in uniform please come to the position of attention? Ladies and gentlemen, the Commanding Officer of Officer Training Command Newport would like to present to you your newly reaffirmed naval officers. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the playing of the service songs and the final dismissal. Officer Development School, Class 19050. Upon graduation from Officer Development School, you are ordered to detach and report to your duty stations, where you will assume your duties and responsibilities by order of Mark Nicholson, Captain, United States Navy, Commanding Officer, Officer Training Command, Newport. Class 19050, dismissed. On behalf of the Commanding Officer, Officer Training Command, Newport, thank you for attending today's graduation ceremony. All students are directed to move immediately to the front of the stage for the class pictures, followed by the awardees having their pictures taken with the guest of honor and the Commanding Officer. Ladies and gentlemen, while this concludes the ceremony, we ask that you remain at your seats until the pictures have been taken. Thank you.